As winter drew on, Molly became more and more troublesome. She was late for work every morning, and excused herself by saying she had slept, and she complained of mysterious pains, although her appetite was excellent. On every kind of pretense, she would run away from work to go to the drinking pool, where she would stand foolishly looking at her own reflection in the water. But there were also rumors of something more serious. One day, Molly, having strung barefootly in the yard, thought until Clover took her aside. "Molly," she said, "I have something very serious to say to you. This morning I saw you looking over the hedge at the Byzam farm from Foxwood. One of Pilkington's men was standing there. Sorry, I've a long way, but I'm almost certain he was talking to you and you were allowing him to stroke your nose. Does that mean wrong?" "He didn't. I wasn't. It isn't true," cried Molly, beginning to prance around and paw at the ground. "Molly, look in my face. Do you give me your word of honor that that man was not stroking your nose?" "It isn't true," Molly repeated. But she could not look Clover in the face. The next morning she took her heels and galloped away into the field. A thought struck Clover. Without saying anything to the others, she went to Molly's stall, threw the straw with her hoof. Under the straw there was a little lump of sugar and several bundles of ribbons of different colors. 3 days later, Molly disappeared. For some weeks, nothing was known of her whereabouts. The pigeons reported they had seen her on this side of Willingdon. She was between the shafts of a small dog cart painted red, which was standing outside a public house. A fat, red-faced man in cheek breeches and who looked like a publican was stroking her nose, feeding her with sugar. Her coat was newly clipped. She wore a scarlet ribbon on her forelock. She appeared to be enjoying herself, so the pigeons said none of the animals ever mentioned Molly again. In January, there came a bitterly hard weather. The earth was like iron, and nothing could be done in the fields. And the meetings were held in the big barn, and the pigs occupied themselves with planning out the work of the coming season. They had come to accept the pigs, who were meant to be cleverer than the other animals, to decide on all questions of farm policy, though their decisions had to be ratified by a majority vote. This arrangement would have to be worked well, if they're not for the disputes between Snowball and Napoleon. These two disagreed at every point where a disagreement was possible. If one of them suggested sowing a bigger acreage of barley, the other was certain to demand a bigger acreage of oats. And if one of them said such and such field was right for cabbages, the others declared that it was useless for anything except roots. Each had his own following. There were some violent debates. At the meeting, Snowball often won over by the majority by his brilliant speeches, but Napoleon was better at advancing support between times. He especially was successful with the sheep. Of the late sheep would take typically 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, and both in out of season. They often interrupted the meetings with this. It was noticed they were to break into 4 legs good, 2 legs bad at crucial moments in Snowball's speeches. Snowball had made a close study of the numbers of the farm and stock breeder which he had found in the farmhouse, and with full plans of innovations and improvements. He talked literally about the field drains, tillage, basic flag, and worked out every complicated scheme for all the animals to drop their dung directly in the field at different spots every day to save the labor of a cartridge. Napoleon perceived no schemes of his own. but quietly, that snowballs would come to nothing. That he would be biding his time. But all their controversies, none was so bitter than the one that took place with the windmill. In the long pasture, not far from the farm building, there was a small knoll, which was the highest point of the farm. After surveying the ground, Snowball declared that that was just a place for a windmill, which could need to operate a dynamo to supply the farm with electric power. With this, light the stalls and warm them in the winter, and would also run circular saw and check cutter and little slicer, an electric milking machine. The animals had never heard of any this kind before. The farm was old-fashioned one, and only primitive machinery. As they listened in astonishment while Snowball conjured up the pictures, the fantastic machines, which they would so work in the fields and improve their minds with reading and conversation. Within a few weeks, Snowball's plans for the windmill were fully worked out. The mechanical details came mostly from 3 books which had belonged to Mr. Jones. 1,000 Things Useful to Do About a House, Every Man in His Own Bricklayer, and Electricity for Beginners. Snowball had used a shed which had been used for incubations and smooth wood floor, suitable for drawing on. He was the closest for hours at a time, with his books held open by a stone, with pieces of chalk gripped between his knuckles of his trotter. He moved rapidly to and fro, drawing a line after line, utterly lined with bursts of excitement. Gradually, the plans grew into a complicated mask of cranks, cogwheels, covering up more than half of the floor, which the animals found completely unintelligible, but barely impressed. All came to look at Snowball's drawings at least once a day. Even the hens and the ducks were at pains to tread on the chalk. Only Napoleon held aloof. He declared himself against the windmill from the start. One day, however, he arrived unexpectedly. Examined the plans, he walked heavily around the shed, closely at every detail, and snuffed at them once or twice, then stood a while completely at them, the corner of his eye. Since then, he lifted his leg, urinated over the plans, and walked without uttering a word. Jerk.
I told you he was like a
What was that?
Nothing.